Amazon sellers need accurate historical keyword data to optimize their product listings and maximize sales during peak seasons. In this video, you will learn how you can use Helium 10's new features, including historical trend analysis, keyword translation, and search query analyzer to track keyword performance and improve your product visibility. If you want to try these tools for yourself, check out the link in the video description below and use the code ORANGE10 to get 10% off your monthly Helium 10 subscription.
Hello, Shivali. I'm excited to have you back on Orange Klik YouTube channel because today you're going to introduce us a historical trends feature which allows sellers to analyze keyword data and compare it with each other. And also you're going to introduce a Xray keywords translation feature and something more which we're going to discover later in the video. But as always, let's first start with your introduction, and also can you give us a brief overview what Helium 10 is and what are you doing in Amazon space?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back on LISETT. It's always a pleasure. My name is Shivali Patel. I'm a senior brand evangelist at Helium 10, as well as an Amazon seller myself. I sell both digital and physical products. And Helium 10, if you don't know, is a software suite of tools with over 30 plus tools for the Amazon seller. Now, we have expanded out into Walmart, TikTok Shop, Amazon influencer programs. So there are tools beyond just Amazon. But today, as LISETT said, we're really going to chat through the historical trends feature, how you can use it to compare months, figure out what sort of visibility you have on different keywords, how you might use that to navigate your keyword strategy, be it if you are a beginner, new seller that just launched a product, or even if you are somebody who's been established for a while. How can you really up the game and get a larger piece of the pie? So we'll chat about that alongside Xray keywords translation and as another feature that I'm really excited to share because this is a very exclusive data point to Amazon. With that being said, I think the best way to learn is really by opening things up, being really hands-on. So as you watch this video, I urge you to open up your Helium 10 account in a different browser and follow along, do all this work inside of your own niche. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let's jump in.
Sounds good. Before you start, I just wanted to quickly ask, are you able to easily keep up with all of the updates and new features Helium 10 is launching, or sometimes you also struggle a bit?
I believe I keep up just because I have to go out and educate people about it. Plus, I use it on my own products, which is really beneficial. I work very closely with the product team, and that makes life a whole lot easier because I'm also the one that sometimes requests these features.
Exactly, and that's a point where I wanted to shout out to your channel and the videos you're doing, often which you and also Bradley is recording, because it's very nice to get video updates and short insights to the new features and tools all the time, and the way you're trying to educate sellers, as you said, like to actually use those tools and kind of get the most out of them. So thanks for doing that, and that's why we're also invited you here today.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, a lot of times when you're on the ground, especially at conferences like yours, European Seller Conference, I've been privileged to go. Anytime I'm there and I speak with sellers, sometimes you hear things along the way that we pass forward, and that's how we really end up with all these really cool features. So thank you as well. All right, inside of Cerebro, I have gone ahead and done a multi-ASIN search just to make life a little bit easier. For you guys, you might be starting inside of, let's say, a primary keyword that you have. Now, I've started with coffin shelf because this is one of the products that we sell at Helium 10. You will want to input in whatever primary keyword that you have, and then go into your Chrome extension. If you do not have this installed, it's helium10.com/extension, and you will want to select Xray. Xray is our tab inside of Chrome extension, which is going to give you a 10,000 foot overview of the actual tool itself. And in seeing that 10,000 foot overview, then you can use the filters to filter it down to just your competitors. Obviously, all these coffin shelves are not going to be our competitors directly, especially because some of them are not actually bookshelves. We're selling bookshelves, but you also have this right here, which is a makeup brush holder. You'll probably also have bookshelves that are not coffin shaped. And so just quickly to narrow this down, we're going to go in and put in, by clicking this filters tab, go to title keyword search, and I'm going to type in coffin because I want the coffin-shaped items. And then maybe I know that my retail price is not gonna be the premium version where it's over 40 bucks, so maybe I wanna say, "Hey, I don't wanna see anything that's above 40 bucks." Then I'll click apply, and as you can see, it took some of our results out at the very bottom. Going back, I always like to make sure that I've hovered over and selected only my direct competitor products, with the first checkbox always being your product. Okay, make sure that if you are already up and listed, it's going to be your product. If you're not yet uplisted, you're doing this during product research, then make this your primary competitor. If you know that, hey, I went in and then I sorted by parent level revenue and all the items that I found, this one right here is still, this one's a letterboard, but let's say this was a bookshelf, then maybe that would be my primary competitor product that I want to base my product off of. Make sense? Hopefully it does. I'm going to skip over this toilet paper holder. Love all the stuff that people come up with. So not that, right? That's not one of our products, but let's just select a few. These are all our Manny's Mysterious Oddities. We have this one. We have an eyeshadow palette. We have, and once you've selected, let's say 4 or 5 or 6, however many you believe are your direct competitors, then what you'll do is you'll click Run Cerebro, okay? I'm going to click Run Cerebro, and when I do that, we will get to this page right here, where you have the multiple ASIN search, with the first one being your product or your competitor's product from here. What you're going to do is go into historical trends. So right here, you have keyword distribution. Of course, coffin shelf is probably going to be something that does a little bit better, you would think, at least, in Halloween. And right now we're in April at the time of recording this, but say we were in July. July is not going to give me all the visibility I want for something like October. When, let's say, maybe I haven't launched this. I'm trying to launch it around Halloween time or right before Halloween time. I'm going to want to know the keywords that will do well in the future, not right this instance, right, guys? Because we are not going to be using the same words to purchase something like this right now compared to later on when I'm maybe looking for the spooky decor. And that is where historical trends comes into play. You can click this, maybe opt into one of the products that you know are doing well from a revenue standpoint. And then when you're looking at the last 24 months, which, by the way, you can divvy this down to just 3 months or 6 months, 12 months if you want. I'm going to keep this as is. And maybe I'm interested in, for this particular product, September to October. What is the difference? You see how it's jumped a little bit in keywords. Maybe I'm interested in that, but I'm also seeing that February was kind of low. So if I was in February and I want to take a look at September, October, I could select multiples of these and be able to compare and contrast. That is the cool part. Okay, so as you can see down here, it says compare 2 months, right? If I put in 3, you'll see it says compare 3 months. For now, let's just do 2. And I'm going to click Run New Search. If you ever run a similar search, you'll see something where it says, do you want to load it from history? Which is useful, right? If you're trying to go in for a default search over and over again. But right now, I want something new. And that is where it says I want to compare these months. You can select a preset. And these are the ones that we inputted in. So since we selected 2 months, you have these presets. Display keywords present only in the first month and not in the second month, or display keywords present only in the second month but not the first month. Maybe this is what we're interested in, because we saw that between September and October there was a little bit of a jump. And so I want to find the ones where, which are the keywords that I don't yet have in my peripheral vision. And then I can add in search volume, organic, or sponsored rank if you want, and click apply. Or maybe you know that there's a lot of branded searches happening in my 1032 filtered keywords. Maybe you might say, hey, exclude brand names. You can see that I've done this before. You have show only Spanish keywords if, let's say, you're looking for Spanish keywords specifically. So this is our AI filter, which some plans have access to. And then when you click apply, you'll see our 1042 went down to 345 filtered keywords. And it'll let you compare and contrast. So right here you have display, goth, bookshelf on wall, display case shelves, pastel goth, home decor. But more importantly, now you're seeing how the search volume differs, as well as how your sponsored and organic rankings differed. So as anytime that you're seeing this little dash, it means you're not ranking for that at all, for this ASIN that you're looking at. If you're doing this on a competitor's listing, then this might give you insight on which keyword or phrase you might want to focus your strategy on, say if they're not ranking at all. This is your main competitor, and they're not even ranking for this, but it has great search volume. That's opportunity for you, right? So you can go in and leverage this, because now you can see it month by month, or you can say, hey, actually, this is one of my listings, and I'm noticing that I'm not actually ranking for this, but it would be something really good to rank for. Say this was a long tail keyword. This is really too broad for my liking, so I wouldn't go in for this. But if this was something that was a long tail keyword that was relevant, well, I might be a little bit concerned, right? I might want to say, hey, I wasn't ranking for September in September last year, but I want to make sure I'm ranking for it this coming year if it's something that's going to skyrocket, which I can actually see how it does over time by clicking the little graph icon. Pretty cool. A lot you can do here, and I hope that you open this up for your own products and you check this out, be it for comparing 2 months or 3 months for your products or for your competitors' listings. Another thing you can do is when you're inside of a search results page, this is pretty brand new as a feature. You can go into Xray keywords, which is going to be your second tap down if you have the extension installed and you're underneath the seller drop-down menu. Then this will pop up all of the top generating revenue keywords for you. And when you're taking a look at all these keywords, maybe you're interested in one of the other languages. Why might this be important to you? Well, not everybody who shops on the platform is always using English. And other times, maybe you're even interested in doing research on this marketplace to sell on a different one. Maybe I'm interested in seeing what is the German equivalent. Well, you would be able to find that here very, very quickly. So that's another one of our newer features. Now, the very last one that we were kind of hinting at in the beginning is going to be Search Query Analyzer. This right here, as you can see, is underneath our tool section. So for example, this analytics right here, that first one, that's what you're going to click. And what you're going to be taking a look at is the data point that Amazon released a few years ago, right, inside of Seller Central, and it gives you a lot of information. Okay, so how many impressions are you getting? What's the search volume really look like for a given keyword? And I'm not just talking about regular search volume that you can find anywhere else. This is delocalized, meaning that if somebody, let's say, goes to page 1 and then goes to page 2 and then jumps back to page 1, well, that's going to be a higher search volume. And that's really what we're looking at for a specific ASIN, and you're going down and you're seeing the search volumes compared to the impression share. So if you notice that your impression share, let's say that it is higher than the search volume you're seeing, it might mean that your product is actually, it means that your product is showing up multiple times. Okay, it's showing up more than once via organic and ads. And then if your impressions are lower than expected, then you might be missing out on chances to actually sell. Something else that you can really take a look at here is your keyword sales per the actual key phrase and your ad information. So if you're using Helium 10 ads, you now actually have access to customize these columns and see all the metrics for your search query performance stacked up with your ad metrics as well. You can obviously go in and customize this information, but one of the things that I absolutely love that makes life a little bit easier as a seller is you can see multiple weeks in a row at the same exact time. Usually if you're doing this inside of Seller Central, you might have to go into reports and do the things individually, but here you can go in and divvy it out by month and select multiple months or multiple weeks. And whatever you've selected, so let's say the same example as before, the coffin shelf, I can go back and take a look at last year, what was happening via, these reports in October, in September, and see all of it at a glance here, what my key metrics were, what the total search volume was, what the impression share was, what the click share was. And anytime you guys don't know what something means, so let's say that I was looking at some of these metrics here that are very specific to Helium 10, for example, my ISR, my ASINs impression divvied out by search volume times 100%, you'd be able to see that just by hovering over that or the little eye icon. Okay, and then you'll see that also charted out. So a lot of really, really great information here that will give you information on whether or not you've generated sales for a specific keyword in the last 24 hours, whether it's worth investing more PPC into, whether you are actually doing well relatively to your click-through rate compared to your ad metrics. You can put all this together to create a more holistic picture as opposed to, let's just say, trying to download each individual report, which as much as I'm a spreadsheets kind of girl, I don't want to be doing that if I don't have to. You understand? There's much better uses of my time, and I'm sure you feel the same. And so that is really where Search Query Analyzer can come in. You can use that to figure out whether or not you're getting the sort of impressions that you really want if you have a higher version of that than compared to the search volume. and any of the other information I just chatted you through. So hopefully you learned something and you're excited as I am about these features. You can leverage them for your own business.
Thank you so much. Definitely excited. Also coming back to the very last feature which you showed about social security. Am I right that this is something you were able to release quite recently? Because before it was not able for softwares like you to actually get the data straight from Amazon. Maybe you can expand a little bit on that, because for sellers who are maybe starting out, they're not so familiar with this report, or let's say the data point overall. So to kind of clarify why it's so powerful actually to have this within Helium 10, just like at reach easily.
Yeah. So this is one of the most valuable things that Amazon released from a data standpoint on your own clicks, on your product. You can see, if it's your first time using it, you'll be able to see things like how many times your product showed up on the page, as I mentioned. How many times did you show up on page 1 specifically for that keyword? Were you on page 2 at some point? How many times did somebody click on your product compared to how many times they clicked on, let's say, products in your market, right? Where the other products are showing up. How many times did somebody add it to cart? So a lot of really, really cool things. And this is new. This is very new. You're absolutely right. We're pulling this information from the API still. So actually, even if you go in and you're taking a look at some of the other marketplaces, or doing this for your own niche where you're not looking at the most recent weeks, let's say, but you're going in and checking out something that's a little bit older. For example, if I go in and I click this, I'm not actually sure if we'll load directly, but let's just try it. I think this will, yeah, so this is what you'll see. Report data preparation in process. It may take up to a day. You can find it in history when ready. And you will only see this if it's the first time that you're searching for something, especially because we're still downloading all that information from the API. But eventually this will load automatically. This is a very temporary thing, basically, is what I'm getting at. And this will also be the case for, let's say, if you went in and you were taking a look at any of the other marketplaces. When I went in and I showed this to you, I already had an ASIN loaded, but this does automatically pull in all the products that you have inside of your Seller Central account, so long as you were connected via connections for the Seller Central interface.
All right. Thank you very much for this additional information. So thanks again for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and of course have you educating our community as well. As you said, you have been to our physical events as well. You're often on our YouTube channel, and it's always great to learn from you. And if you're watching this video and you have additional questions for Shivali, then leave them as comments below the video, because then we can invite her back to answer those as well. And of course, if you want to check out Helium 10 and sign up, there's a link in the video description below the video, which Shivali provided with us. So go ahead, and hopefully you're going to make a lot of money and sell a lot of products using Helium 10 as well. So thanks again, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
I hope this video will help you to analyze keyword data and improve your product visibility using Helium 10's new features. If you want to try Helium 10 for yourself, check out the link in the video description, and don't forget to use the discount code ORANGE10 to get 10% off their monthly subscription. And if you enjoy the content we create, don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons, and leave a comment in the comment section below if you have additional doubts or questions. And now I recommend you to watch more tutorials about how you can use Helium 10 in your Amazon business. So check this out.